to an historic defeat of New Zealand, and a third consecutive World Cup semi-final berth. Potter, who was assistant coach at Newcastle, the two words were underneath each other on the rundown, so I read the wrong one, has tendered his resignation to Fiji National Rugby League last Friday to enable officials to begin planning for the 2021 World Cup in England. The former Catalan St Helens Bradford West's mentor nominated World Cup assistant coach Wes Nguama as a potential successor. So obviously Wes Nguama we'll know from a brief spell
down in London
Broncos,
and of course
brother of Kevin Nguama, who's the Fiji captain.
And Mick Potter, of course, the infamous the first visitor to the slaughterhouse.
Was he?
I'm sure I told this story on SLP via email.
I'm not sure.
So when Potter was going to go and leave Catalan to go to Saints, he had to. He actually rang Tony Colquitt, the Saints CEO, to say, I've got to see Bernard, but he's asked me to visit him at the slaughterhouse. So if you don't hear from me in a couple of hours, can you ring the authorities? He was actually genuinely concerned.
I mean, that's remarkable. No, I've never heard that story before. I do hope that is a real one.
I mean, I got it from Tony, so I take it that it wasn't him overplaying it, but I genuinely think that did happen.
Do we think that McNamara's in for a slaughterhouse visit, or are we reassured by the sort of comments that Gauch made?
Well, he's going to pack up his ball and go home.
That it's basically all the referees' fault. We don't want to come over to England and grace your shores when your referees are costing us. And the coach has shown good things, apparently, over the last few weeks, which don't include the first half of the Huddersfield game, the second half of the Wigan game, or all of the Castleford game.
The whole I'm going to pack up and go home. It's like, okay, Bernard, yes, there you go. Off you go to the bar. See you later. Off you go. But it was just bizarre comments, really. And I was going to say, in that game in particular against Wigan, it wasn't the ref that was knocking it on. It wasn't the ref that gave away silly penalties. It wasn't the ref that gave away a cheap shot, was it? But
well, we'll see if the referee scored any points for Castleford and prevented Catalan from scoring any points shortly. But we're going to have the and finally first. Rochdale Hornets player Lewis Palfrey has been getting treatment in hospital for a serious infection to a cut he suffered in their defeat at Leigh last week. The 28-year-old suffered a cut to his face in the second half of their championship clash, and was treated on the field by the club physio and by Leigh's doctor. But after the game, he had stitches done by Leigh's medical staff, and then over the next few days, the halfback started suffering considerable swelling to his face and eyes, and was admitted to hospital, where he was being treated for periobital cellulitis.
Periorbital. So that means around the orbital.
Oh, eyes. Yeah, I'm with you. Good pronunciation skills there that I missed. And he's on intravenous antibiotics to treat it. So pretty serious stuff for Lewis Palfrey. The pictures were remarkable. I mean, I've not seen. You don't see many people who've gone 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua looking that puffy in the face afterwards. It was some swelling that he was suffering. So all the best to Lewis, and I hope he recovers fully and swiftly from that.
Fingers crossed that he does recover, because that did look very nasty. So fingers crossed that he comes back sooner rather than later.
Basically down to about a quarter of an eye's vision. Everything else had closed up, and it looked well nasty. So and a warning to anyone who gets the treatment at Leigh. No, I'm sure it was just one of those things. Certainly. Okay, so that is the news section well and truly covered. We're going to move on now to Super League match reviews. Super League match reviews now sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop. On any orders over £5, you can earn 5% cash back. And also 1% of your order value will come to me at SLP to go towards the spending that SLP gets through. All you need to do this is put SLP discount at checkout. You can find out all the details of everything on the superleaguepod.com blog. That'll be up once the show is released for you to listen to. So whilst you're listening, go over there, read that, click the link, buy some stuff from Rob's Toy Shop, and support our supporters. Right, it was round 11 this week, Tim, and it was a disappointing average attendance across the round of 7,003. It feels like forever ago, even though it's only 2 weeks ago, that we had 3 9,000 plus rounds in a row. So not positive things. And we start with one of the very much not positive crowds, and it was Thursday night's game. It was Widnes 20, Hull FC 39, 3,733. Oof. Chris Kendall was the referee. Do you want to start us on the fan views?
Yep, so we start with Carsten, who said that Hull FC with a perfect start in the first 10 minutes, but Widnes fought back. Good game for 40 minutes, then Hull's experience took over. Widnes looks more like last man standing than a rugby league team. # need a bigger hospital. They certainly do. That's why they work with the NHS, because they're...
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? They're trying to beat the scrum, but they're actually causing it all at the moment, which is a shame. Neil McEwen said, kids are trying but ultimately can't compete against grown men. Good news on Kindhorse joining on loan, but there's bigger things in the background. Fans starting to stay away with how the club's run. Betts deserves more backing from the board. Martin Afire will be getting a call soon to dust off his boots. Houston injury is shit for the club. He gives 100%. Looks to me like ligaments, so see you next year. Burke is a waste of rations.
Yeah, that Houston injury did look nasty though, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And obviously he's an old fella, so he's not going to recover as fast as some of the young guns, you wouldn't have thought. And he has been flogging his body this year for
he's done some big minutes, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So that is going to be a big loss for them, because that's someone that they could work around. You just assume he's going to be there, so you work your rotation around him.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, they're going to need Hep Cahill to be back in the side and doubling down on his effort like he was doing last year in a similar sort of way to what Houston's been doing this year. But it's just whether they can get these kind of players on the pitch. I mean, off the treatment table.
Yeah, onto the eye pitch.
Yeah. Which I can't say that that's the reason for these injuries, because they're happening everywhere and all the time for this Widnes side. It's just...
no pitch is going to save you on a lot of those injuries. No pitch is going to save you on that sort of thing. It's what comes from playing rugby, and unfortunately, it's just they've all happened. All those nasty ones have all bunched up at the same time.
Yeah, and they need to get some sort of thing in place to get the other guys recovering better, so that they can put some people inside that are fit, basically.
And fit and experienced, isn't it, is what they're lacking. Moving on to other views, Lee Whitnell said that I always thought that Hull would win, but was pleasantly surprised at how hard a busted Widnes made it for them. It was a shame that so few fans turned out to cheer them on, though.
Yeah, Paul O'Brien said, played well for 60 minutes, then conceded 3 tries in 3 attacks. At 14-12, should have drilled the ball into touch, but put a high ball, put all our players offside, and we conceded the first of the 3. Then at 20-27, we ran it on the last, all down to game management. Some good points, but things are going to get tougher.
Starting this weekend when they play Coventry, of course. We have another fan view from Mr. Man at Magic Man 1970. 3,700 fans says it all about Thursday night rugby. Sky Sports and the RFL expecting away fans to travel over 2 hours across just about the width of the country. Which idiot picks these games? Should be Friday night or Sunday afternoon. That's it.
Now,
light blue touch paper, and I'm going to retire. I'll see you in 10 minutes.
I'm not going to say that I agree with Hull and Widnes playing each other on Thursday nights. I think it's silly that the two furthest away from each other English Super League sides would be expected to play on a Thursday night. The issue I take with this, though, is Thursday night games are not a problem in my eyes. We get more match reviews from Thursday night games almost every week than any of the other games. We all enjoy watching them from the comfort of our own home, and we aren't inconvenienced too much to go watching them throughout the season in terms of watching our sides play. This is one of the ones that shouldn't be on a Thursday. I agree with that. But even if it was on Friday night this week, I think the Hull fans would have largely stayed away because of the M62 chaos that they've been experiencing recently this season. For a game that they could watch on TV and they're expecting to win comfortably, probably even more comfortably than in the end they did, even though it was a decent margin by the full-time whistle. The thing is, the RFL and Sky Sports aren't expecting people to travel 2 hours across the country, but they are expecting people to travel 20 minutes down the road, and it's not the away crowd that means this was 3,700. It's the lack of home fans, and that is on Widnes's issues, not on a Thursday night kickoff, in my view.
Yeah, and that's it.
I was at a Widnes game against Wigan where there was over 6,000 on 2 seasons ago, I think it was, when there was the fire, and that was a Thursday night game, and that was on Sky. This is not because of that. This is because Widnes fans aren't going. So they're down 1,500 every week. This is not a Thursday night issue. This is a Widnes issue that Widnes need to do something about.
Yeah, and
That's my
it definitely is what they need to sort of. It does alarm me because Widnes used to have quite a steady away support that would turn up to watch all sorts of dross.
Exactly.
So that is a concern.
3,700 in the bloody championship.
Yeah, and they did really, when they were in the championship, they did a really good effort at marketing the club, and they've done lots of good things in the community and off the pitch. So it kind of concerns me that these numbers are dropping away, because they must get a fair chunk of season tickets, if nothing else. So is it season ticket holders that aren't turning up? Is it a transport issue getting to the stadium? I've never been aware of anything like how I am at other clubs.
There's a pretty decent sized free to use car park just round the corner from the ground. It's on a main throughway through Widnes, isn't it, really? The main road sort of behind the stand is, I'm guessing, has buses running down there. I'm almost certain it does. On the other side of the stadium, there's the main roads that take you in and around and through Widnes. So it just seems, I think it's more about what they're going to turn up to watch, and it not being enjoyable.
And it's not terribly far from the train station even as well, so if you did have fans based slightly further out that would come in as well. So it does seem that that's a poor excuse. But I think, how many Hull fans are going to travel? There's going to still turn out in numbers, of course.
Hull FC are a well-supported side, and I'm sure if this was a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, there would have been more there, because they wouldn't have had to contend with the M62 problem.
But as you say, you should never be relying on the away fans to boost your attendance. That they should always be your bonus. You should budget for your home fans turning up, and make sure you get your home fans, and make sure there's something good for them to come to, and make it worth their while. And then if away fans turn up, that's your profit margin, and that's your extra.
No, I completely agree. And whilst 2 hours, well, it's not 2 hours at the moment, getting back from the west side of the Pennines clubs to Hull because of the road closures and stuff. But yeah, that's a bit much for the Thursday night. But once a year, I think people could plan for it. You've known about it since November, so it's not like it came as a shock to people.
And the Thursday night games are generally fairly distributed as well. It's not like in the NRL where Broncos have always got a Friday night game, for example. They're fairly distributed. So one team is only playing on a Thursday, I would say, the maximum of 4 times across a season.
Well, yeah, I mean, it becomes a bit more of a lottery when you get to the Super 8s, don't you? Because there's less clubs and less games to pick from. But yeah, 3 or 4 games in the regular season max, I would say.
And it's definitely better having it on a Thursday than when we went through the trial of having it on Mondays.
I think so. I think it sets the weekend up well for fans watching on TV. I think more people probably might be watching it on the TV.
I used to forget about the Monday night
games.
I used to forget the Monday night games were on. I just would say, I was always tuning in at half time because I'd completely forgotten.
Yeah.
And it was only when I started seeing some stuff on Twitter I'd remember they were even happening. But certainly the Thursday night, I mean, I personally, it's probably the one I probably watch the most of, because the time scale convenient, because obviously I'm sort of doing something or travelling or out on a Friday more likely. Therefore, Thursday is probably my main slot of watching, and it's probably the games I get most into from an armchair perspective.
Where we can catch the casual observer more. So,
because there is less generally on a Thursday. You're competing with a lot less, aren't you? The odd bit of Europa League football, but generally...
Darts is the main...
And the darts.
Every couple of weeks when that's on. But yeah, I like Thursday night games. I know there's a lot of people out there who disagree with me on that, though. Right, one of the old faithful who will have made the journey, because he so often does, is Joshua's granddad. And he says, good in parts when we were in the mood, the points flowed very quickly, but too many switched off moments, allowing Widnes, who never